wrestling with Mike, nobody can compete. The face and the heel, we break down the deal. Wrestling fan Kris, the man in the myth. Voice of the people, that's a hypodermic needle.
What's up, gang? Welcome to Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman, the podcast that breaks down the biggest stories in and out of the ring. My name is Mike Wellman. I am your host. We appreciate you here, as always. Folks, this is episode 99 of Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman, if you can believe that. I didn't forget my line there. I just wanted to make sure. Sorry, I heard believe that, and then I just started forgetting my lines. Anyways, folks, welcome to the show. Like I said, my name is Mike Wellman. Joining me, as always, the voice of the people, wrestling fan Kris. What's up, Kris?
What's going on, Mike?
Are you ready to defend the Smoky Mountain Tag Team Championship, Kris?
Oh, it was only against the Rock and Roll Express, and I'm not jobbing.
Well, I'm going to be politicking with Kris all day about this, folks. But we got a lot to get to on this episode. We are going to talk about Danhausen in WWE. Folks, the internet has a lot of thoughts about Danhausen in WWE, and we're going to clear everything up right now on this episode. So stick with us for that. We're also going to talk about a 115-year-old man driving the roads of Connecticut. What? Oh, no, it was 115 miles per hour that the old man was driving down the Merritt Parkway a few weeks back. So we just could not resist a Vince McMahon body cam video to discuss. So we're going to talk about Vince McMahon's car accident in his Bentley. We're probably also going to talk about this little miff that happened on social media between WWE Women's Champion Jade Cargill and Rhea Ripley. It was interesting to me because somehow Piper Niven? Dude? I know who that is. Of course I know who that is. Her and Chelsea Green somehow got dragged into it, so we'll probably find time to talk about Jade Cargill kind of breaking the fourth wall and whether or not breaking the fourth wall is kayfabe or not. What else, Kris? What else did I text you that I wanted to talk about? Oh, there's an AEW pay-per-view this weekend. MJF and Hangman are going to be wrestling in a Texas death match. Is Hangman, the stipulation is still there, right? That if Hangman loses, he's fucked.
Yes.
Anyways. All right, folks. So before we go any farther, is that are those my birds chirping or your birds chirping, Kris?
Hold on.
I believe it's your birds that are chirping.
Those are my birds, yeah.
Put your birds away. Okay, folks. So before we go any farther, we ask that you be kind, like, and subscribe. Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman. You already know where to find the podcast. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever you find your podcast. Find us on social media. Not really doing much on X these days, but I am on Threads. We are on Threads. Watch Wrestling Pod on Threads. Watch Wrestling Pod on Instagram. At Watch Wrestling Pod on Facebook. YouTube.com/@WatchWrestlingPod. Wherever else you feel like finding us, we're probably there. So, in case you didn't know, folks, who are we? Well, we've done this show for a few years now, folks. Like I said, this is Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman, independent, unfiltered, built by two wrestling fans for wrestling fans. We don't answer to any sponsors, billion-dollar corporations. We answer to our listeners. You folks, the people listening right now. So when we watch good wrestling, we'll praise it. When we watch bad wrestling, we're gonna cook it. When we see some corporate nonsense going on, we're gonna call it out. Nothing is off limits. We don't care if it's pretty. We don't care if it makes people uncomfortable. This is DIY wrestling media. No corporate filter, no PR spin, no sanitized takes or company approved narratives getting pumped into this microphone. 0 F's to give about who we piss off. Isn't that right, wrestling fan Kris?
That's right. And it'll happen sometimes.
Oh, it's happened.
It's gonna happen. Mm-hmm.
Boo, I don't know. You piss me off. Fire you like the road dog. Boo.
Ooh, ouch.
Don't piss me off. All right, folks. So, hey, Kris, what was in the box?
One of our favorites.
Well, better yet, did you think what was in the box was in the box?
I heard Danhausen as a rumor weeks ago, but then I started hearing more about like Evil, and I was thinking like that might be more impactful. So it's gonna be that, right? I thought it was gonna be like Evil or something. Maybe it's gonna start. I know there was rumors about like a faction starting with Nakamura and Evil leading it and all this kind of stuff. But I don't know how true that was. But I feel like the more impact would have been Evil.
Yeah.
But it was Danhausen. But actually, I know that I'm saying that. Do these WWE fans even know who Evil is either? So it might have been the same, honestly.
Yeah. So once I heard from Sean Ross Sapp reporting that Jericho is still tied up with AEW, once you kind of rule out Chris Jericho, the only person left for me was Danhausen, because now you have a reveal. You don't just have a run in. You don't just say Evil is coming like Veer Mahan, right?
Yeah.
Evil is coming. So you don't know who's coming. And yeah, I don't know if they could fit a whole faction in one box, Kris, okay? But what you can fit is about 12 dancers and Danhausen, because that's who we got at Elimination Chamber, right? That's when it happened, right?
Yes. Yep.
So yeah, so they revealed this box at Elimination Chamber, and out comes Danhausen to a dud of a reaction, first and foremost, right?
Yep.
So I don't know if they tried to just make the connection that because Danhausen is friends with CM Punk and CM Punk is from Chicago, that the Chicago crowd was going to somehow cheer for Danhausen. But no, he got 0 cheers and something of a bit of booze, because basically he came out with some pretty cool dancers. They were kind of like Danhausen, Elvira, like Hulu dancers. But then he comes out to the ring and, you know, he doesn't have a match. He doesn't talk into the microphone, and then the lights go out and they're all gone. So I think that is kind of what set it off as a dud. People just were more confused than anything. But the fact that these people did not know who Danhausen was, and the people watching at home who did not know who Danhausen was, do you know what that tells me? Turns out, if you take the most popular wrestler who's selling the most merch and the most t-shirts and has the longest lines at indie shows, if you take him off television for 2 straight years, yeah, he will cool off, believe it or not.
Weird.
It's so weird, you know? I mean, you know, back in the day during the Monday Night Wars, and whenever there would be wrestlers switching companies, even in the beginning of the AEW and WWE kind of wars, when a guy would be off TV for 3 or 4 months, the rumors would start that they're going to the other show. Now in AEW, you get years on end without seeing someone on television.
Yep.
Britt Baker, Chris Jericho, Danhausen, Ray Phoenix. So many people just disappear. And then, I mean, Jack Perry, after his little dust up with CM Punk, he was off TV for like 9 months. You know? CM Punk was gone from the company, and Jack Perry's just still off TV.
The hottest Jack Perry probably ever would have been.
So, yeah, so Danhausen came out, didn't get the best reaction. Now, the other piece of that is WWE fans not knowing any other wrestling promotion characters. But to be honest, even in AEW, Danhausen's reactions, he only made like 4 appearances in AEW, for God's sakes.
Crazy.
He had one really awesome match. I think it was on a pre-show of pay-per-view, but he kind of just made appearances, and it was a little bit confusing in AEW as well. But at least the AEW fan base is a little bit more in touch with the internet and the indies. So there's some people there who obviously know who Danhausen was. But think about this, Kris. How often back in the day would we go to an independent wrestling show a couple years ago, 3 or 4 years ago? Well, maybe not that far. There'd be 4 Danhausen t-shirts. He's not even on the show.
Yeah.
Regularly, you know? Regularly. Not to the point where you're going out like to the grocery store and seeing Danhausen shirts, but at wrestling shows where he's not even there. It's just, there's at least 4 Danhausen shirts, you know? That was definitely a thing. So all those people who watch WWE, solid wrestling fans, That was a thing. So, but the WWE fans, they didn't even know who Obafemi was when he debuted on SmackDown. You know,
Yeah.
so they're not exactly, you know, if they're not already on the show, the SmackDown. You know, those people who buy $700 SmackDown tickets, they don't necessarily know who all the wrestlers are. You know?
Yeah, as it should be when you spend that much money on a ticket.
I mean, how much can you expect Post Malone to really know? You know? I mean, he's buying all the tickets.
Exactly.
Because he's the only one that can afford them. Is Post Malone. But so I found it fascinating. There was this debate on the internet as well of I don't get it with Danhausen. So Kris, did you ever have that feeling with Danhausen that you don't get it? You don't get the character?
I don't know. I have not. I could think I get it. Maybe I don't get it enough. Maybe I'm not as well rounded and I'm not as deep of a thinker, but I think I get it.
Well, we'll do a little Dan-splaining here for you guys. Dan-splaining-hausen?
Yeah, that's it.
Nailed it. That's what we're going to do. So for the uninitiated, and like I said, he was off TV for 2 years. So there's definitely some people who are not initiated with Danhausen. So he's essentially a mix of Dracula mixed with Pee Wee Herman mixed with Conan O'Brien if they were a character on The Simpsons. Right? And it's really not that hard for me to grasp. So he makes references, for one. He's going to reference the zeitgeist, right? Whatever the zeitgeist is, he's going to reference it. Some of his jokes are a few years old, you know, like the idea of when can I start using The Rock's gym? Not like topical, you know,
Yeah.
but so then he's also that guy that's going to pull in like other, like I said, from the zeitgeist. Like maybe he was on Conan O'Brien's podcast. You know, so he's going to be the guy that gets those other people, like those viral things that he can kind of become part of The Simpsons or become something to do with like horror movies. Like he had all of the Danhausen chicks out there that were dressed like Elvira. Like he's got this like horror movie night like vibe, but it's also very sarcastic and like Pee Wee Herman like, you know? Mm-hmm. So he's and he knows how to curse people. We can't leave that out.
That's right.
And I do appreciate the fact that so he shows up at the pay-per-view, not the best reaction. And I saw people like, who is this? What was this? And that's fine. It wasn't they didn't ruin Danhausen on the first night, right? Then on Raw, this was where, and I don't know if I texted this to you because it was like it's hard to text so many words. This was where I thought they got Danhausen perfectly right, okay? He's talking to Adam Pearce, and he's like, Adam Pearce is like, here, you talk to the Judgment Day. Talk to them. Judgment Day, this is Danhausen. And the Judgment Day walks up, and he's like, nice to see you, Finn. Nice to see you, Dom. And he just looks at JD McDonough, and he's like, nice to see you. And he does it. He just goes on to the next thing. He doesn't give him a weird nickname. He doesn't call him, the wrong name. He doesn't call him his old name. He just goes, nice to see you. Anyway, it was like, yes, perfect encapsulation of the fact that JD McDonough is the forgettable one of this group, right?
Yes.
Like without, so that's kind of his shtick. And then, of course, Dom starts talking shit. Dom's got a title match defending the IC title against Penta. Danhausen curses him. I said, oh, this is going to be great. Penta's about to win the Intercontinental title. And sure enough, they did it, right? Because for one, Penta is like the hottest wrestler in WWE right now, right? And two, yes, you can't start off night one of Danhausen cursing people and then there's nothing attached to the curse. Something bad has to happen to Dom. Something has to fall on his head before the match or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's got to get a stomach ache right before the match. Something goofy's got to happen now that Danhausen has done that. So now we've established Danhausen will curse you, and it's an effective curse, right?
It works, yes.
It's not, it's a protected maneuver, the curse of Danhausen. So that's Danhausen, and then he's going to SmackDown as well. And I do think that they are going to ruin him. I think it's like I have like this, pessimistic attitude where he's already doing like he's wearing other people's merch and stuff. And there's a fine line, I feel like, between legitimately funny, viral, campy. Everybody's using the word campy. Like, oh, okay, great. You know, like if you can't see that Danhausen is campy, I don't know what to tell you. So, you know, but I feel like what I don't want to see is just Danhausen in every like Slim Jim ad, you know, on WWE or whatever, where it becomes too cheesy and he's just a walking advertisement for Fireball whiskey or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
I'd like it to be, like I said, the zeitgeist where he's talking about whatever relevant thing is going on, or he's making a reference that is algorithmically in all of our feeds or something, you know?
Yeah. And as long as, and maybe wrestle a little bit. Be a good wrestler.
It's interesting that you say that first, because I didn't even talk about Danhausen ever wrestling.
Yeah.
I don't think they need to have him wrestle, and that's fine.
Nice. Okay.
I mean, he can, and I want him to. He's a good wrestler, but I'm just not like, that's not going to ruin the character. He can be totally backstage. He doesn't have to be like, oh, well, put Danhausen in your team to make it a 4-man team, and then he's like you know, he cannot wrestle ever, and that's fine with me.
Good. I should have said, like, I think that if he wrestles and is like a decent wrestler, which he is, that will help him with longevity. I think that'll keep the staleness away. That'll keep the ruin away. And it won't be his fault if he gets ruined, like you said. But I just think getting someone in the ring and having them like wrestle a little bit, get some wins, kind of be a fun wrestler will help the shtick. And I say shtick with the most positive attitude ever, because I love Danhausen.
They already have Danhausen Big Shots, which are the modern day wrestling buddies. And I do think he's going to be a high merch seller, and I do think that they're going to pump out a lot of merch about Danhausen for sure.
Good.
They're probably already working on an action figure for Danhausen. The amount of T-shirt designs that Danhausen would have on pro wrestling tees, I think WWE has a lot of latitude as far as what they can do with all. There's so many different designs you can make, you know, and you know how they pump out. Somebody makes a joke on a Monday Night Raw. There's a T-shirt by 11 p.m.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see. I think, but since then, since he's had these few TV appearances, now everybody loves that Danhausen. You know.
Well, we were texting too about it. Like, we both knew that just because his debut was flat, we both knew that he would get himself over because he's just that fun, and it comes across. So we knew it'd be all right. So it's good that's happening. Yeah.
All right. So you know what else is happening? People are driving down the Merritt Parkway, Kris, going about 100 miles an hour, and they can't control their cars. Did you see this?
It was incredible. Yes, of course I did.
This video of Vince McMahon crashing his car driving down the highway is insane. So it's an insane video to watch, and it gathered some like news traction. You know, like the AP and stuff were sharing like, watch this body cam footage of former WWE owner, and it's like they're not even saying like he's just like, this is ridiculous footage. But it was, his behavior was newsworthy enough, right, in that footage. And I had posted on Threads, I have something like, you know, for this is like obviously newsworthy footage. Vince McMahon crashing his car, the manner in which he did it, and how he was acting afterwards. But for a wrestling fan, this is very typical Vince McMahon behavior. You know, this is a Thursday. Like,
exactly.
Like, yes, this 80-plus-year-old man driving a Bentley Continental, just, there was no accident, and then he just created one out of thin air. That's also interesting about this, is that, and it was police dash cam footage, because the police were already following him. He's in the right lane. He can barely control his car. All he does is try to go into the left lane to pass the car in front of him. He's got plenty of room. What does he do? Smashes on the gas and just hits the car in front of him, and barely goes into the left lane and then hits that guardrail. And then, of course, you know, serendipity being what it is, when his car parts are flying all over the road, a car part flies over into the other lane of traffic and damages the car of some current WWE employee.
Yeah.
To just happen to be in traffic. Can you imagine working for WWE post Vince McMahon, and you can't even get away from this son of a bitch on the road?
Oh.
In Southern Connecticut?
It's got to be horrible. Man.
On the Merritt Parkway, for fuck's sake. It's bad enough out there. We don't need Vince McMahon. Can someone take his license?
Yeah, why is he driving? Come on.
Did you see what I saw in that video? He was just driving, and there was no accident to be had, and he just made one.
It was like in the episode of Bob's Burgers when Tina's learning to drive in an empty parking lot, and there's only one pole, and she just goes right towards it.
It's like, and it just demonstrated such a lack of being in control, right? Because then he's like, the cop's like, "Are you okay? Are you having a medical episode?" And he's like, I think actually what he said to the cop was, I think he said, "Officer, the Undertaker, he's got my daughter Stephanie, and he gave me this stuffed animal, stuffed teddy bear." Ah. Pretty sure that was on the body cam footage. He was rushing because the Undertaker kidnapped his daughter Stephanie.
Yeah. I think that was confirmed when we looked at the subtitles of the video.
Yeah. So the Undertaker must have kidnapped his daughter Stephanie. That's the only thing I could think of that he would be going that fast. But just, my God, man. He didn't even go into the left lane and then speed up to pass the car. He fucking drove into the car in front of him. Like, he was going a good speed, over 100, guns it even further, past 100, into the car in front of him. Like, you get a 0 on this test, sir. 0.
Everything was terrible. Everything was wrong.
The cop is like, are you okay? And he's like, oh, that's fucking. He's like talking to himself, and he's like, "You stupid son of a bitch." He's like, "Ah, you bastard, you dumb son of a bitch." And then he was like, I mean, he's old, and he had just had a car accident, right? Regardless of how he got there, he's probably a little disoriented, but he's like, "I haven't driven this car in so long." Like, you should never drive this car ever again as long as you live, or any other car for that matter.
Yes, please.
Or any other motorized land conveyance at all.
Yes, please. Not even motorized. I don't want to see him on a bike, a skateboard.
No wheels.
Yes.
Nothing with wheels.
Stay off wheels.
I mean, geez, that was just, like I said, it was newsworthy because of how goddamn ridiculous he is. And think about us as wrestling fans, this is just what we had to put up with. And everybody working for that company underneath him with all the decades of stories about him. Good thing that cop didn't sneeze in his presence, huh?
Oh, man.
That could have been.
He's lucky.
Could have gone from bad to worse.
I mean, it's such a spotlight on the shock. I just imagine everyone, like you said, everyone else being like, "Look at this decrepit old idiot. I can't believe that's him." And it's like, we've known that for 25 years.
Exactly.
Welcome to the team.
A feeble-minded, stimulant-addled, decrepit idiot. And obviously so much worse than that criminality-wise.
Yeah.
But just in terms of what you're looking at when you're faced with him. Fucking.
This is what's happening down here in the wrestling world, okay, folks?
Exactly.
Welcome.
Yeah. This is one Vince McMahon story. But yeah, no, turn in that son of a bitch's driver's license. Where's Paul? Paul! Take his license.
Ugh. Yeah, do the right thing, Paul.
So yeah, we just had to carve out some time to talk about that. Oh my God. So, all right, now let's get into this drama that unfolded on, I believe it was X, right? Because everybody's still only posting on X, right? Nobody's having social media beef on Threads. I mean, I do, but I just get blocked, and then it's done.
Boo.
So they just block me and move on. But yeah, so this unfolded where who even started this drama? It was something about Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill. And I'm just gonna get the first tweet pulled up here. So the one issue about this was that people aren't sure if this was fake or real. And I really don't know who started it. Let's see. Rhea Ripley says, oh yeah, so Rhea posted up something, or somebody posted up today in wrestling, today in Hysteria. So there's a whole Rhea Ripley dedicated account.
Got it.
Posted up something about how Rhea Ripley's going to her 7th WrestleMania in a row. She's competed for a belt in every single one of them. She'll have competed for 6 different belts. So then Rhea posts that up and says, keep in mind, she's obviously facing Jade. She says, I guess I'm that bitch, right? Which is Jade's catchphrase, right? So then Jade comes back, and this is where things really kick off. She says, no, boo, you were the second option. And then the nail polish emoji. She says, at me, basically tag me next time so I see it. Okay, gotcha. So there you go. We'll get to what I think about all this at the end, but we're saying that Rhea was the second option.
Ooh, I know. Mm-hmm.
So then Rhea replies and says, all you seem to do is talk, and that's literally it. Okay, so this is like when you're someone who has a whole category of stuff that people aren't allowed to talk about, i.e. your current in-ring ability, it's kind of like the whole people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones thing, because it's going to come up, you know?
Yep.
If we're all doing you a favor by not talking about something, and then you start talking, it's going to come up. So Jade says, talk? Like the hours you spend talking to creative? Creative now? I thought we were wrestlers.
Yeah, what's going on here?
So this
What's
is
creative?
Put a pin right there, right? So the hours you spend talking to creative, Rhea comes back with, you're funny, ... That's funny, ... Now we know you really do be talking out of your ass because everything you say is bullshit. Don't spread lies on my name, you dumb bee. Okay, pretty clear. All right, so then now we got there. Jade is quote tweeting that one. She says, oh God, another victim. Will you girls lighten up and stop crying? Crying, laughing emoji, yawn emoji. We haven't even started yet, boo. Okay. So Jade then says, separately from that, replying now, hit dogs will holler. Holla, holla, holla. And then the hugging smiley face emoji. All right. So then there's another tweet from Jade where she says, ha, I just be talking. And which member of our social team found that video for you? Because we know they always have to find a way to keep you on top going into Mania. Okay. So then Rhea says something. She posts up like some videos that are weird. I don't have an X account, so I don't know. So Rhea posts up some videos that seem to be embarrassing for Jade. So then Piper Niven and Chelsea Green get involved. Chelsea Green, she's just sticking up for Rhea, right? She says, Rhea is proof that you can be kind, respectful, and the most talented wrestler in the world. Just kind of, saying that separately, just kind of like saying that. And then Jade says, it's no point to even go and embarrass you on this app. You always have something to say about everything. Okay? And then Chelsea replies, damn, hit dogs really do holler. Woof, woof. Okay.
That's good.
We have a winner, folks.
Mm-hmm.
So then Piper Niven, she's part of the Secret Service. This is her job at this point. She has to protect.
She actually should have been there earlier, but whatever.
Chelsea in all of this from catching these strays. But I think Chelsea handled it. But anyway, Piper Niven says, who TF even said anything about you? Contrary to your belief, the world doesn't actually revolve around you. No point to even embarrass you on this app. Give you enough ring time and you'll do it yourself. Oh.
Ooh.
So then Jade comes back with, hey Piper, I hope you're healing okay. Shots. Can't wait to give you some ring time. All right. So then Piper says, yeah, maybe by the time you're back from your many vacations, I'll finally be recovered. Lick my ring, ya boot. So then Jade says, that's above your pay grade, Piper. Relax. Jade also says, also, yes, I'm somewhere on an island. Thank you for asking. I hope you heal up well. Enjoy your rest. And then Zelina Vega apparently just posted up a GIF that said, did anybody try the chicken? I thought the chicken was lovely.
Good try.
No, I read that off of a summary there on Cage Side Seats. So, a lot of stuff there. I mean, I'm inclined to believe that it started off not, in storyline, in kayfabe, because what Sean Rossat pointed out was that somebody told him from WWE Creative that for storylines, they don't mention creative. Does that make sense? Like, they're not going to mention creative in a storyline. So for Jade to mention that, I mean, they're just firing shots at each other. And whether this is all for Unreal, like there's the first idea, which is that they were just popping off at each other, unscripted, not approved, probably went too far, and they got to go and talk it out in a room somewhere, right? Second one is that it's all staged and it's all for the show and it's all part of pulling back the curtain, but we're really not pulling back the curtain. We're just putting the curtain farther forward,
Yes, exactly.
because
well
this
said.
is still behind the curtain.
Well said. Yep.
And then we'll see it on Unreal where, just like we saw with the Charlotte and Tiffany thing where they went off script allegedly and said, your boyfriend's in my DMs and you have had too many divorces and all this stuff. And so that was, all for Unreal, whether or not it was scripted or whether or not it just happened and they were able to use it. Same thing here. I don't think that like people are sensitive, I feel like the fact that they were digging up all this dirt on each other and like with Chelsea getting involved, like to me, that's like Chelsea's done that before, I think, where she's had to stick up for people, here and there. Chelsea's kind of like the locker room Undertaker there for like Wrestlers Court, it seems. And so when she has to get involved, she's kind of like Judge Judy here, right? And it looks like Judge Judy has made her verdict. And that verdict is that hit dogs will holler, woof, woof. So Jade did not win this. So if we just go back into the back and forth here, Jade did not win this, and she didn't look like she had a lot of comebacks, but everybody else sure did. So it kind of lets you know what people are thinking in a way, right? She's not there all the time. She's always on an island. This is, it's kind of like coming out, bursting at the seams here, right? The idea that she's not there and then, but hey, what do you do if you're Jade, right? You got all this criticism, but you're the women's champion going into WrestleMania as the women's champion. You got to look strong. So you got to defend yourself,
Absolutely.
But you're not going to defend yourself against like Piper Niven, like you're not going to win that one. I don't care what island you're on.
It's for this one. It's like, man, I just think like Chelsea Green's so great. That's what I got out of this. Like, no matter what she inserts herself in, she always makes it great. She came out looking awesome. And then Piper Niven just being associated. Well, Piper Niven has been a good wrestler for always, right? And she's been very entertaining, but just associating with Chelsea is also making her better. And that's really what I got out of this. I mean, we all know Rhea Ripley's a good wrestler. Could I go without her at WrestleMania for a title? I could. I get it.
I think she's just the top star right now that they have. So she doesn't already have the title. So it's time to put the title back on her. She's just in that spot where she's just like on deck again. And she's still a big enough star where
you're right.
She's not like in this Randy Orton phase where it's like, oh, Rhea again,
Yeah. And I think I do think you're right. Jade's probably been told she's taken that job, so she's probably pissed off about it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Well, yeah, exactly, right? Because she says you talk to a creative, which I think like that's not some sin for her to say that. It's not like way over the line, but at the same time, I think it's like you gotta. I think they'll probably like that's how you learn what not to say. Yeah,
I also think that just generally in wrestling, that if you could talk to creative, you probably should just do it. If they're gonna listen to you and you can like work, like you gotta fight for yourself. Well, even if it's politicking or whatever, you still have to.
But it makes you look bad when people say that, though. So think about
absolutely
if that was yet not scripted, it was not part of the story, right? And that tweet comes out, Now you're Rhea Ripley. It's kind of seems like Jade is sort of like revealing the truth about you in a way, right?
Yeah.
She's revealing something that is, oh, you talk to creative too much. Okay, well, and then so that's going to prompt Rhea to maybe come back with like, you know, you can't wrestle or something or whatever, you know, whatever she's insinuating there.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think that when you are the person who is, I'm sure Jade, she's gotten better over her time there, but she's not made like huge strides in the ring.
Yeah.
You know? So, and what I think that tells me is that there's a ceiling on her in-ring ability. I don't think she just needs some more ring time and then she's going to be, you know, Rey Mysterio. I think that we're getting, you know, what we get out of Jade, and that is marketable, and it's she has a great look, and I think, but I'm not saying she's like a lost cause or anything. If she can tweak the promos,
Exactly.
tweak the in ring a little bit, and yeah, you can go to as many islands as you want if you're putting on good matches. You
don't always have to be Brad Armstrong or whatever Stone Cold Steve Austin says in his podcasts about a good hand, but you can, I think that you're right. She can, if this is her, it's fine. She can be marketable. You don't have to be a great technician. You don't have to be.
Right, exactly. What I'm saying is I don't think she's obviously ever going to really get there per se.
Yeah, and I think you make a good point too. If you do bring up someone talking to creative, it is it's a diss, and people think it's bad. You're right. Yeah. I just think that's a stupid thing, but it is.
Yeah, so it's almost like smacking somebody in the face. Like you have to expect a smack back.
Yeah.
You know, you have to understand that you just kind of escalated things, at least in a certain way. Mm-hmm. You know? So that is one match that they're trying to, and obviously this is kind of building anticipation to the match, right? So that's one match that we have at WrestleMania. So this year's WrestleMania 42, the build so far, we are like a month and a half out. We know the basic structure of the card, kind of, which is a story in and of itself. We've got the main event of WrestleMania, which is essentially going to be CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. We have now the main event, what will likely be night one, Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. We also have Rhea versus Jade Cargill, and then for the women's world title, we have Stephanie Vaquer versus Liv Morgan. Right. Beyond that, there's questions about who Brock Lesnar is going to face.
Yep.
And there's no other.
Yes, I mean, Seth Rollins is going to do something, right? But will Braun Breaker be back in time? They're just stalling that. Usos are going to do something. They're going to be involved in something. But will it be with Roman? I don't know. Finn and Mysterio seems like they're going to go that way, but that's not really been like said yet, right? But that seems like it's going to happen too. But yeah, you're right. We have really no idea, and that's why there's no tickets sold.
Yeah. So obviously the ticket thing is a separate issue. If the show was awesome, if the card was amazing, I don't think that the tickets would be struggling as much. But at the same time, I don't know. Sometimes something makes me think that no matter what the match is, they're not going to sell tickets because the ticket prices are like terrible. So, and it's the second year in a row in the same city. They're going to kill the town.
Exactly. It's like if you like last year, you're like, oh, I want to make a whole trip. I want to go to Vegas and do Vegas stuff and see WrestleMania. That's gone now.
Well, and also
everyone did that last year.
A few people I've seen on podcasts have made the point that, you know, WrestleMania week, it's a week, right? So it's like SmackDown, Hall of Fame, 2 nights of Mania, Raw. There's an NXT show, and then on top of that, there's like 100 indie shows, right?
Yeah.
That's way too long to spend in Las Vegas.
Yes.
People, by the time they get to the, like, they're like not, it's like Fallout, you know, it's like the wasteland. They don't want to be there anymore, and they want to never go back. So... So there's that, right? That's a long time to stay in Las Vegas. So, but just in terms of the card itself, so puzzling to me. It seems like they had to try to ruin every match on this WrestleMania, right?
Yeah.
In a year where they also are having tickets, the card itself is not helping the situation, right? Mm-hmm. So Punk versus Roman is good. And I know that they're hit with Rollins being injured, they're hit with Braun Breaker being injured, and they're hit with Bronson Reed being injured, right? And so obviously things go into a state of flux, right? But how many people do you think in WWE would have to be injured in order for LA Knight to be on WrestleMania?
Way more than we have now.
At least 5 more people will have to go down with injuries. They'll be like, shit, man, Mr. Iguana is injured. Fuck. All right, I guess we got LA Knight here. Like, no,
The Rock would have to get injured, and he's not even on the card at all. He's not even in the company.
To me, that's like, God, tell us again that you're just picking who you want to pick and not who the fans want, you know? Mm-hmm. So just the idea that LA Knight is not in a solidly booked program already, like, okay, you've got Brock Lesnar. There's a lot of choices for what you can do with Brock at Mania. You could put him up against Gunther. Obviously, the rumor is that that's going to be the SummerSlam match, right? Gunther would retire Lesnar at SummerSlam later this year. Fine. The problem is that with this WrestleMania card, it seems like you have too many masters to please. You know, we can't do Brock versus Gunther because that's going down at SummerSlam. We can't do Brock versus LA Knight because we hate LA Knight. We can't do Brock versus Roman because we already did that. We can't do Cody versus Roman because we already did that. We can't do this because we did that. We can't do. They have all these things. They can't do this because of that, and they can't do that because of this, and their arms are tied as far as what they can and can't book. We can't book this guy because we're waiting to see if Seth Rollins can come back. We can't do this because we're waiting to see if Braun Breaker can come back. I mean, fine. All of those solid Bruce Pritchard excuses make perfect sense. They are not going to sell tickets to WrestleMania.
No.
Those excuses, those Bruce Pritchardisms will not sell tickets. You know, and so you can have one or the other.
Yeah, and you're right too. Like thinking about it, like you're already gonna when you have WrestleMania in like a place that's not Las Vegas, where you already got to go there and spend an arm and a leg on everything, right? It's already like you're already hemorrhaging money. You're gonna spend all that money on tickets too. If it's in like Detroit, right, where you can actually just go there, spend your money on wrestling stuff only, and not have to be all the other vices there, it'll be a little bit better. So I totally get that. They're not going to sell that many tickets. And are they going there next year too, or is this the last year? I don't remember how long it was supposed to be, because that's bad.
Listen, if I go to Las Vegas for WrestleMania and I'm spending $700 on something, it ain't my seat at WrestleMania, okay, buddy? Same thing goes for Detroit.
Deep dish pizza, of course, you're speaking of. I know.
Listen, if I'm hanging around in the D and I drop $700 on something, all right, listen, it ain't a wrestling show, all right, pal.
You slipped to the Nash there, Detroit's own.
I'm from the D. Heck yeah, man. No. Screw Las Vegas for one, because do you know they charge like service fees for every single, like to use a towel at a pool, it's like $45. Mm-hmm. Like, not seriously, but by the end of your trip, you're like, they're just hitting you with these parking fees, and it's like, fuck that place, honestly.
Listen, I don't want to dox myself, but Wrestling Fan Kris will be in Las Vegas in a month. Not in 1 month, but a month in this year, I will be in Las Vegas, and it's not for WrestleMania. But I will be there, and I will let you know how it goes.
And you're just going to be paying 15% extra on everything. For fees.
Like, I can't wait to go to Starbucks and just see what it's like. See what I pay.
You're gonna talk to those mole people that live in the tunnels, and they're gonna charge you fees.
Can't wait.
Yeah, don't talk to the mole people of Las Vegas if you see them.
I'm not gonna talk to anyone, to be honest with you.
I'm not gonna talk to anyone. Don't talk to anyone with their nipples out.
Well, that's like 75% of people, I would say. So
that's true.
From what I've heard.
I mean, certain neighborhoods in Detroit is the same thing.
There we go.
But yeah, no, seriously, just the idea of WrestleMania being in like a normal big city. Okay, Chicago, even New York City, like Boston, right? Traffic is terrible in Boston. Los Angeles, traffic is terrible. There's all these problems with big cities. None of them are as fucking bad as Las Vegas. Like, yeah, you can get around Las Vegas on foot and stuff, and there's a lot to do, but my God, there's just vice left and right. And yeah, they're saying that they made Vegas a little bit more kid-friendly, but I mean, just going to like Indianapolis or even, you know, wherever. Florida, Orlando, Florida, something.
You got to go to somewhere where WrestleMania is the biggest thing you could do during that weekend, and Las Vegas is not.
Plus, they don't care about like the fan experience. They care about the experience of their pocket.
You're right. And I mean, they're not going to sell that many tickets, but I'm sure they're going to make a ton of money because the tickets are so expensive. So the ones they do sell are going to make them money. It's whatever.
Well, what they're freaking out about is their internal goals. Like they have it in their head that they want to make all this money, and they're just diluting the product so much that you can't, you can only dilute it so much. Let's see, age-old wrestling huckster story.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to get too much into the weeds of ticket selling and everything, but I mean, there's only Punk and Roman Reigns is awesome, right? Is anything else that awesome? Danhausen's fun, but he's not awesome, right? Well, what else is really great? Cody and Randy Orton, that'll be a good match, but all right. It's just like Brock Lesnar's back. Woohoo.
Well, there's no sort of piece of the puzzle that you can add in. There's no break the glass in case of emergency. Like sometimes Brock was that guy at times, even though not really. So, I mean, Punk came back, so there's no free agents. I mean, unless they can get. I mean, even if they got like Edge to come back. Like, let's say, I'm not going to be one of those people that's like, Edge is coming back and so is John Moxley or so is Dean Ambrose. But, like, let's just say that these guys are available. Edge is not going to move the needle more than Punk and Roman. So, and there's no Brocks. There's no, The Rock is not an option, Yeah,
we're back to how it was a few years ago when, like, there really was no options like this at all.
The only human being that there is that they could beg to say, hey, listen, can you come back a year early? Because you're coming back at Saudi Arabia WrestleMania, right? We know everybody that's alive is going to be on that card. Every living wrestler will be there. The only person that they can say, can you come back a year early, is the person who's actually going to be on Monday Night Raw on March 16th in San Antonio, Texas, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
You're
and
right.
that's with
that would move the movie, but yeah, you're right. That's not happening. And
I mean, like, and he's not in like wrestling shape. He's just can still walk. Like that's the criteria. Can you walk out and do an appearance? Essentially, Hogan's dead.
And I mean, Hogan. Who knows? The last time we saw Hogan, that didn't work out.
Dude, Hogan coming out and getting booed I would buy a ticket to WrestleMania.
Good point. That is one of my favorite moments of Raw since he got on Netflix.
His last appearance on wrestling was him getting booed out of the building.
Awesome.
So, but I mean, there's nobody that's not elderly that can make an appearance. Because like I said, The Rock's not an option. There's no wrestlers out there. There's no big free agents that left the company a few years ago, and could they come back? They've already got back AJ Lee. I mean, they could maybe get, Trish Stratus could come back, but they've made the product such where no one can move the needle aside from Roman, Punk, Cody, or Rhea. Yep. And Danhausen.
It's too early though. Soon.
But you know what I mean? Like there's nothing, because what they have to do is on some level, they have to drum up the interest. The show itself has to be where the buzz comes from. Yeah. They're doing all of this outreach of like, who can we collaborate with? Who can Logan Paul bring in from the streaming world? Like, can we get, I Show Speed back? Can we get whatever his name is that was in the costume? Can we get all these streamers? Like, they're not going to, they've relied on celebrities. Like, okay, maybe we can get Jelly Roll. I mean, to be honest, the outside celebrities, like Jelly Roll is like an attraction, right? So like, honestly, if they said like Jelly Roll's wrestling, that might sell some tickets, sadly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're right. I mean, I wonder if that even, besides Jelly Roll, I wonder if streamers actually move the needle. Like, is that like, do the people who watch streamers, are they going to cross over into wrestling? I don't know. I'm sure there's some, but it doesn't seem like that's a huge audience to bring over.
Well, I think this is the classic wrestling. Like, do you remember fucking that video of Andy Warhol being like, I love this, like from the 80s?
Yes.
And he's like, I love this. It's just the best thing. And it's like, no, you fucking don't, Andy fucking Warhol. Like, what wrestling doesn't understand is that these people, these interlopers, it's temporary for them. They're coming in to be like, ooh, look at this. This guy just slammed another guy. Wow. And then they're just all like, they're not going to hang around until next week.
Right.
So you want to go to find Post Malone and Jelly Roll. They're going to come here for a few weeks. and then they're going to move on to the next carnival thing.
Yeah.
That's viral.
Which is why the last great thing that's been done was The Rock's run before WrestleMania, because he actually cares about it and stuck around.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely the recent peak, especially, they just had so much to work with. They had been like building the story with Cody and Roman, and then they had The Rock and they had the Usos, and they just had so much to work with. But then since then, they've done almost nothing. Like, so that was WrestleMania 40, right? You know what was one thing that was great about WrestleMania 40? On night one, you had something that was going to determine what happened on the next night. And you had the same guys wrestling. Now, I know that obviously nobody wants to wrestle 2 nights and it's taking a spot from somebody else and all this stuff, but it was like high drama. The fact that you end night one. Night one, I thought Cody, like the only way Cody can beat Roman is if he wins that night one tag match, and then it's not bloodline rules. Now Cody has a fair chance, and that's not what happened. So it was like night one, the bad guys won, right? And then now you have 18 hours, whatever, to just like marinate this, because it kind of determined a stipulation for the next night. So it was like the 2 nights were connected in that way with a story. And then all the same guys, plus like the Undertaker, were out there again for night 2. Mm-hmm. So it was just this big Avengers like ensemble story, right? But then think about it. The next year, WrestleMania 41, you had this tepid ass Cody versus John Cena. And what are they doing to John Cena? Screwing up his retirement tour left and right.
Yeah.
So they're dropping the ball with John Cena left and right to the point where they have to do like the world's most historic abandonment and pivot of a wrestling angle, which is John Cena just coming out one night and being like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm not a heel anymore. That was stupid. It was like Gold Dust when he was 7.
Yes, of course.
He didn't make it through. He just said, screw this, I'm not doing it. And that's basically like the pivot that they had to make with Cena. So the WrestleMania match with Cody, that was like boring. The bad guy's going to win. Okay, boring. And then they did obviously make up for it at SummerSlam. They had like probably the match of the year for WWE, Cody versus John Cena.
Yeah.
And then But still, WrestleMania. They're trying to appease too many masters. We can't do this with Brock because we got to save him for this, and he doesn't want to do that, and then this guy has to go for this. It's like, focus on making the show good. You're screwing up by not putting LA Knight against Brock Lesnar or Obafemi against Brock Lesnar. And forget this idea that Brock Lesnar can't lose. That's bullshit to me. He can. He can lose also, every night.
Yeah. I mean, I also think this is like, I know this is kind of weird. Rob Van Dam was in TNA and he won the world title, but his contract was up like the next day. So they just like took the title away from him because they didn't plan ahead to know that he didn't have any dates left. This is this is what's happening though. I feel like they just go like, yeah, throw The Rock out there for a Cena heel turn, and then they don't think about what's going to happen. They don't say, hey, Rock, can you be here for multiple times? Hey, John Cena, are you really going to put your whole body into this heel turn? They just don't do that. They're just making moments, like you said, and then they appease. Oh, sorry, we can't do that. John doesn't want to do it, or whatever. Like they're not like they don't have long-term plans, I guess, or they're not locking up the plans.
Can you imagine any popular show that built toward a season finale, but like you just said, they just didn't build toward it?
Yeah,
like,
it was just
Stranger Things, Game of Thrones, like whatever show you watch that has a big like finale. Imagine they're just like, we don't know what's going to happen in the last episode. Like whoever's here, we're just going to kill him. Whoever's left. That's like George R.R. Martin killing the main character in the first season of Game of Thrones or something. Like, we killed so many characters, we don't have anything left to do. And that's where WWE is right now, where it's like, But one thing I know for sure is LA Knight is not going to be on WrestleMania.
No. It's like that was a good George R. R. Martin. It's like if in season 1 of Game of Thrones, if they just spoiler, and they just killed Ned Stark and they didn't know what to do after that. Instead, like they kill him, and then there's ripple effects that go out throughout the whole series. Makes sense, but it was just like they killed him, and the next week no one talked about it. Nothing was ever mentioned again. There was no ramifications. That's what it's like.
Yeah, it's just not. It's not going toward any story that will have a conclusion of any kind. It's just placating, like filling spots on a whiteboard and.
And then Drew McIntyre again. His first title run is in the pandemic with no one around. His second title run gets cut short because they need a bigger star. That's what I think happened. I'm not kind of confirmed, but I just assume they were like, they need a bigger star to go against Randy Orton.
So if Drew McIntyre ends up just wrestling Jacob Fatu at WrestleMania, that is not a big match.
No.
It's a great match, and I'm going to enjoy it, but it's just a match at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's like I said, it'll be a good match, but you're right. It's not like this big thing. Nope.
Like, if they're presenting that to him as this is a big opportunity, it's like, it's not even a consolation prize. It's just a match on the card. And everybody has a role, right? But I feel like Drew, especially coming off of that title run, he should be in a main event. But again, they're trying to also build up certain guys. So it's like certain guys are like untouchable, like Gunther, and like they would never just do Gunther versus Jacob Fatu at WrestleMania because got to protect them both.
Yeah.
Can never do Gunther versus Obafemi because you got to, protect them both, presumably. And then, but they've got all these guys that are like in their 40s and they're trying to protect them too. And it's like, pick a side. Yes, obviously we don't need Javon Evans beating Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, right? That would be a little bit going too far. But it's the balance is definitely off right now, and the WrestleMania card is really showing it.
It's just sad. It's sad. That's why. It just makes me sad.
I mean, I'm sure the majority of the card's probably going to be interesting, And
I'm sure most of the matches are going to be good too, like in ring, but it should be more than that.
But I think when you try to service a second layer of fiction, the primary focus becomes blurry of like everything we do is for the backstage show. So nothing we do on the fucking show matters anymore. And it's like, okay, buddy.
Yeah.
Whatever you say, game.
Yeah, game. Thanks, game.
Yeah. So speaking of the game, what did you think of this business with our old pal resigning from his job as one of the lead writers of SmackDown, the Road Dogg?
I couldn't believe it. Only because, not that I couldn't believe it, it's just, he seems like a guy who's going to stick around forever. He was one of the boys, right? And then he just was like, no, I can't do it.
Well, there was different rumors and stories that came out. One of them was that he was upset with a new direction that they were going in. Another one was that he was upset with his performance review. So he just, I don't know if he was about to get demoted, kind of reading the tea leaves there. It seems like there was a change coming and he didn't want to do that change, or he got some bad feedback, which one thing I think is they made him look really ineffectual on that Unreal season 2.
Yeah.
They made him look like a bumbling fool, but it was almost devoid of substance. Like you showed him blowing up, being like, oh, I'm going to be mad now, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, but you didn't really say why. And like, so they heaped a lot of praise on Michael Hayes in this show, both seasons. Oh, he's some creative genius. Paul Heyman's another creative genius, right? And then, but for whatever reason, they just only showed the footage of the Road Dogg that made him look like a dope. And I just don't 100% believe that like anybody could be that bad at their job. So I just don't think that like it was like he was a bumbling person who was just causing problems and wasn't really contributing. And so how he looked. And I just don't buy that. Like, why would he get that far? Yeah, you could scapegoat him, or you could legitimately blame him for SmackDown's just quality drop.
Sure. But Road Dogg, he did some good work on NXT before, like way back before it went to 2.0 and then before Shawn Michaels took over. So he can do some stuff.
Speaking of Shawn Michaels, the creative team, they're under new leadership. So they might be building an army, and when you're building an army, you look to your friends, you look to the clique. Now, do you think that maybe good old HB Shizzle might be kind of leaving NXT for bluer pastures, maybe?
So, like, I was actually pondering that, but I just feel like I don't think he wants to. I think he just wants to stay in NXT and do that thing and stay in the small pond and like kind of be like the guy who teaches and kind of does fun stuff. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I feel like, as good as you do in NXT, even when Triple H was doing NXT stuff, when you get to SmackDown or Raw, Pritchard's going to be on your ass. Hayes, they're going to be the ones who are going to be no matter what, they're the number ones, So you can't really have a much of a say, I don't think.
Yeah, I was just thinking because whenever somebody does good, they tend to just move them up. So, but I could see he's done a great job with booking NXT. So, but there is the other piece with NXT of it's only in one place, and
true.
It's kind of like there's like a mentoring teaching element of the new talent. It's not just showing up in a new city every Friday and booking the show, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, but I was just thinking like he's definitely good enough to like if SmackDown had the booking of NXT, they'd be better.
Yeah, I do want to just point out things that I do like. I kind of like, speaking of SmackDown, I kind of like sad Johnny Gargano. I do like it. He's really good at this. And I think it's going to lead to something good. So,
I mean,
hopefully.
I don't know what it's going to lead to.
You're right. I shouldn't have that much high hopes, but Johnny Gargano's very good at doing this. So,
to be honest, it's a coin flip on what I think is going to happen with Gargano, because what I see happening with Ciampa in AEW, to me, it's like just go there, you know?
Yeah.
Like just go. It's funny how like the best thing of the 2010s in wrestling, or the only thing that people can talk about with Ciampa or Gargano is them being a tag team from 10 years ago, you know? Like or them having a feud from basically 10 years ago. And it's like everybody just wants to go back to that for these two guys. And it's like, maybe it was really that good after all. If 10 years later, we're just still hoping they go back to this. You know?
It was great. But hey, Johnny and Candice and Indy Hartwell and Austin Theory were very good in NXT as heels too. So I know he has range, but you're right. I do think I shouldn't have confidence in where the story is going. It's probably going to be something dumb and he's going to be buried. But I do like he's good at it, is all I'm saying.
So, speaking of Tommaso Ciampa and AEW, let's move over to the AEW side of the world here. We have AEW Revolution coming up this weekend, and the main event. This is a pretty good card, and AEW has been. I mean, all we do is complain about WWE. Seemingly, we don't give enough credit to AEW at the moment, because this pendulum that we've been referencing for the last like 6 years just keeps going back and forth. I mean, it swung right back over to WWE for a while. I mean, you got Aleister Black going back in there and just stealing Karrion Kross's gimmick, right? Going right back over to WWE. Everybody was going right back over there, you know? And then now all of a sudden there's, you know, AEW is the better product overall on TV these days. And I think that AEW Revolution has a lot of good matches on it. And you got MJF taking on Hangman in a Texas death match in Los Angeles, California, which is my favorite thing about Texas death matches. Why can't there be like a California death match?
No, sorry. Has to be Texas.
Compton Street Fight or something.
That's only if Vader's involved.
A back alley. Yeah, why can't they have the Hollywood backlot brawl?
Good point.
But yeah, nonetheless, we get a Texas death match at the crypto arena. It's made of crypto. Can you believe that? The arena. It's made of crypto.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So
don't tell the bros.
Yeah, don't sell your crypto. So, and if Hangman loses, he can no longer challenge for the AEW championship. Do you like this stipulation, or do you think it's garbage?
I hate this stipulation, and no matter when Cody did it, I think it's a dumb stipulation always.
Even going back to when Cody did it, I believe it was against Jericho. Jericho was the AEW champion at the time, right? Cody challenged.
I think so, yeah.
The whole thing was I'll never challenge if I lose, and then he lost. My thing was, at the time, of course they don't mean it. Right? Go ahead.
Yes, exactly.
Lose, Cody. Oh, shucks, I'll never challenge. And then there's another match, and you got to fight, and then you can challenge again, you know. Come back.
Yeah.
Nope, didn't do it. Cody just left the fucking company. Fuck that. Can't just change the stipulation. So, yeah, so there's a bad history with this one. But, I definitely think Hangman is winning that title back. Because they would not do this to Hangman and their fans. Tony Khan just sounds stupid.
But I feel like why put the belt back on MJF?
What do you mean, Hangman?
No. Like, I mean, I don't think that. Why is MJF got to be the one who's going to lose to Hangman? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he won it in the 4-way. He won it in a fatal 4-way. And then now he's just going to lose it again, you know?
Yeah, like if this is your plan all along, which I agree with you. I do think Hangman should win, and you should win a Texas death match. When if you lose, you can't fight for a title ever again. You should win that. But I mean, I guess you could say MJF is it's not gonna hurt if MJF loses. He's just that good. He can talk his way out of anything. But It's gonna be a good match though, and I do think you're right. This card is awesome. I'm just looking over it again. I'm like, oh my god, dude, top to bottom.
Tonight's Dynamite card is awesome. It's crazy. Ugh. So we've got MJF and Hangman. It's going to be probably an awesome match. Young Bucks and FTR, they're going back to this. I do think they've been away long enough, you know.
I agree.
Where they can have this big match, and it's I wouldn't call it a fresh matchup, but I think it's not stale. So, and I also think like the Young Bucks need to kind of like they always need to like reprove that they can have great matches, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that's what they're going to do again.
I agree.
And they're in California, so I mean, and the Young Bucks are baby faces. So,
they're winning.
So I can definitely see a Young Bucks title win here.
Absolutely.
Plus, the Young Bucks have been back doing being the Elite again and stuff, which is I think is great. Obviously, it's not what it once was with the Elite and everything, but I think they're trying to get back in the swing of things because they kind of they cooled themselves off there.
I agree. I think they will though.
And then this match, you know who I really love in AEW? Tekla. She is amazing.
Yeah. Yep.
So she is the AEW Women's World Champion, and she's taking on Kris Statlander in a 2 out of 3 falls match. This is going to be awesome.
Now, let me I know lots of people don't like 2 out of 3 falls matches, but me, I'm a sucker. I know it's always going to be someone wins a fall and then the other person wins the other fall, and there's always a third fall. Always, I know, but I love 2 out of 3 falls matches. Sue me.
To be honest, I think it's almost a given. Like, I don't feel like it's too obvious. I feel like, yeah, you're going to win a fall. You're going to win a fall. I'd be surprised if somebody just won 2 falls in a row.
Yeah. I remember, I think the only time I've ever seen that, oh my God, what a dated reference. I think Rick Rude and Dustin Rhodes and Ricky Steamboat, somebody, we won 2-0 in WCW like in the 92 or something. What a reference. But yeah.
So Moxley versus Takeshita for the Continental Championship. This is going to be awesome. I do think Takeshita should win this one for sure.
That's fine with me. But the thing about so far is I like how like either person could win in any of the matches we just talked about. Anyone could win and it would still be awesome. I think it's going to be great no matter what. These actually make sense and I like it.
Everyone in the Death Riders is bald except Marina Shafir.
Shave that hair. Come on.
I mean, what are we waiting for, people? The Bald Riders. Call them the Bald Riders.
All right.
So, speaking of Marina Shafir, she's taking on Timeless Tony Storm with everyone banned from ringside. This should be good. I'm very curious to see what they can do with Marina Shafir in just a decent length wrestling match.
Yeah.
But this is the one. This next one is just crazy. Bandito versus Andrade.
I know.
Like, if they tried to, like, because, you know, the AEW pay-per-views, they cost money, which is another story that they have this new streaming service where it's going to cost less if you're outside of the United States. And you know me, I'm a world traveler. So, I might be in, you know, Cyprus, given whenever a Revolution comes on Sunday night. But, yeah, where was I even going with that? Why did I even bring that up?
It's expensive.
Oh, if you could like shell out the money, whether it's $40 or $20, like Bandito versus Andrade, that's like $10 of this card for me. Like, if you could just buy these matches a la carte on this card, if you're like, well, I don't really want to watch Moxley versus Takeshita, like, I would pay like $15 for Bandito versus Andrade, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if you broke it down like that, I wonder how people would think about it. Like, this could be the match of the night for sure. Mm-hmm. Andrade's been doing great since he returned to AEW.
Yeah, it's gonna be like, I saw that match, I'm like, oh my God. My eyes went right to it. I was like, holy, let's go.
And then this is some booking that I really like. Swerve Strickland versus Brody King. Come on.
Absolutely. And I feel like
incredible.
those styles are gonna be good. Yeah, very exciting.
So that one, I mean, I feel like Dave Meltzer's going to have to bust out the star ratings for this card.
Oh, yeah.
And then just this newly formed trio. We had a newly formed trio. It was the Jet Set Rodeo. It was Speedball Mike Bailey, Kevin Knight and Hangman, the world champion at the time. So then they lose the trio, or no, not the world champion. Was he the world champion? No, he was just the trio champion. So then they win the trios, and then they lose them to the Don Callis family, which is like Aussie Open is like in this trio.
Yeah.
But the tag team is Proto Okada, which is Okada and Kyle Fletcher, and just Mark Davis is here too. Like Aussie Open was like the best tag team in the world. It's just that Kyle Fletcher was so good that he, moved on to singles.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
now they're just the trios champions with Okada. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, just with Okada, no big deal.
And Okada is still the international champion.
Well,
And then on the 0 hour, which this is where like they do like 2 shows at once now for the pre-show. It's weird. But Ricochet is going to be doing a 21-man battle royal for the AEW National Championship. How many matches is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, they only got 9 matches. Don't they usually do like 14, 15?
I also have here that Big Boom AJ will be facing TBA.
I mean, this dude's getting more ring time than the Street Profits. Big Boom AJ.
I know.
This guy's guaranteed a spot on every pay-per-view.
I know, it is funny though. Like, you're right. There's only so let's say there's 8 matches on the main card, right? 10 total. That's way less than normal. Maybe that's better though.
I mean, so when are we going to see Big Justice in a match, Like he's done some moves. He's done some spots for sure. And then who pushed him on the ground? Oh, was it Rocky? Rocky Romero? One time just shoved the little kid right on the ground. It was hilarious.
Justice for Big Justice.
I think Justice should have a match just against Rocky Romero.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm not sure. We might be looking at future tag team champions here once Big Justice finishes going through puberty.
I know.
And then maybe we'll get a Big Justice versus Brody Lee Jr. match in a couple years.
Oh, hell yeah.
He's wrestling. Did you know that? He's wrestling against...
I did.
Shocker, Joey Janela. In his first match. It's going to be Sabu's last match, Brody Lee Jr.'s first match.
There we go.
Joey Janela, folks.
I don't mean to go back and complain about WWE, but like I would pay for this pay-per-view, but I would not pay the $30 a month for the ESPN thing for any pay-per-view.
I have yet to.
On that side.
I know.
I'm not saying I would anyway, but
and I would if the shows were good. Do you know what?
Yeah.
Like, just because you got us back to WWE, not me. I was moved on to AEW, but now we're talking about WWE. It's overstimulating watching these shows because it's all ads. It's ads behind the wrestling, on the mat, on the table, and then it's ads backstage, and then it's just ads in between. It's overstimulation of ads. And I know people will say in other sports, like, hey, New Japan has ads on their ring. Yeah, but for some reason it's different. In other sports, like hockey, there's ads all over the boards. For some reason it's different. I don't know.
It is different. That's so funny, but it is different. I don't know either. Why?
It's just
maybe because hockey's real, but...
yeah, maybe because I'm focused on the puck.
But I mean, New Japan's also fake sport. Sorry. And that doesn't bother me either.
Well, they do more head drops in New Japan.
That's what it is. You could die. So it's higher stakes.
For sure. Much more exciting. So I definitely wanted to finally get back into the swing of talking about AEW. Their shows have just been incredible lately. And did I already say I love Tekla?
Yeah, you did, but you can say it again.
Yeah, she's awesome. I don't remember which match of hers I was watching the other week, and I was like, damn, do not take the belt off of her, Tony.
It's isn't it so nice?
2-year run.
Yeah. Is it so nice when someone just comes in and like you're like, this person's cool, and they actually are, and like it makes sense, and they're the champ, and they're good, and it's all great.
Isn't it nice when someone is supremely talented and they just get the opportunity to show it?
Exactly.
Like,
thank you for summing that up. That's what I meant.
Like there are so many people that they're on the shelf for 2 years because they pissed somebody off, or there's politics and then they can't wrestle Brock, and it's like, just let these people wrestle, man.
You're talking to creative too much.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know who Tekla. Somebody should be talking to creative about her. Do not take the belt off of Tekla, Tony Khan. Signed, the sickos. Certified sicko, folks.
That's right.
Certified. They should start selling those at the AEW shows, like little plaques, like I'm a certified sicko.
You say that in jest, but they should do that. People would buy it.
All right, we got anything else to talk about? Did we already talk about Vince McMahon?
Of course.
Oh, did you see this, Kris? Oh, we got to do our Mount Rushmore of wrestling factions. So before we get to that, did you see this? Ronda Rousey, former WWE Women's Champion Ronda Rousey, former Royal Rumble winner. She's going back to MMA.
Going back to the real fights.
She's going back to the shoot fighting, and she's taking on Gina Carano, everyone's favorite. So this, obviously this is MMA, but Ronda's a former wrestling champion, and she's definitely doesn't have anything good to say about WWE or UFC, which I sincerely appreciate. I feel like Ronda Rousey is like the kamikaze person that the UFC needs, is someone to just light themselves on fire and run towards the UFC, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's like the UFC sucks so bad. And obviously the fighters, some of them are like, they don't all criticize in their retirement. Most of them are too busy just trying to like button their pants. But Ronda is, critical of the UFC and of WWE, which I love. I mean, she did you listen to that Lapsed Fan thing she did a while back about her comic book? She said some stuff about like Alexa Bliss that I didn't appreciate, but you can't appreciate everything somebody says. I just love that she's just taken a hatchet to all of her former employers.
I would say that I agree with you that the stuff she did about Alexa Bliss on that, I didn't like either, but the whole interview as a whole made me go, okay, Ronda, I kind of like you.
Yeah, like I will tolerate this chaos. I'll tell you one thing. When I was covering MMA and Ronda's fights, I did not like who said it? I think it was Jimmy Smith that said like she was not pleasant,
Yeah.
But I did not appreciate when you're the person she's aimed at, not me specifically, but just like the media,
Yeah.
It's like, she's very grating and stuff, but hey, this is the carny world of pro wrestling. Bring it on.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't mind. It's on Netflix. I might tune in. Just hopefully Ronda Rousey punches a hole in Gina Carano.
I'm watching this fight card for sure because it's, for one, it's like essentially the anti-UFC card. They got Francis Ngannou. They got what other fight? They were going to do some other rematch on that card too. Some big fight. Obviously, it's like a big, it's like people from like 10 years ago, 20 years ago. But they should get all the old people to run it back in MMA.
Why not? Yeah.
I can't remember who else is on that one. But anyways, I'm just we'll talk about that in terms of what shots get fired by Ronda towards towards TKO overall. But yes, so folks, it is now time for us to get to our last segment of the show. We are going to discuss a Mount Rushmore, folks, everybody's favorite wrestling discussion topic, Mount Rushmore. Mount Rushmore of ankle locks. Mount Rushmore of spears. Mount Rushmore of entrance jackets. No, we are going to do on this episode the Mount Rushmore of wrestling factions, folks. And I'm not talking about just any old wrestling factions. We're not talking about the Truth Commission. We're not talking about the right to censor. We are talking about wrestling factions that deserve to be carved in stone, folks. All right? We are going to each pick 4 factions that deserve to be carved in to the Mount Rushmore of wrestling factions. These are the groups that changed the game, drew money, created stars, or they were just so damn cool that wrestling would not have been the same without them. So I'm going to pick my 4 one at a time with Kris. He's going to pick his 4, and you can all debate in the comments who's right and who's wrong. Or hit us up on social media, mainly on Threads, because that's all I really check.
Yes.
So obviously, faction, 3 or more people, no tag teams, and that's about it. So, wrestling fan Kris, why don't you give us your first faction that you think belongs on the Mount Rushmore of wrestling factions?
All right. I'm going to start. Oh, man. I will start off with the 4 Horsemen.
4 Horsemen.
Easy one. I think I debated putting them on here only not because they weren't great, but because there were so many different iterations of them. So it's hard for me to like pin down exactly who, but I mean, just the presence they had, how cool they were, how it lifted up everyone in the group, how much like weight they had for so many years. They have to be on there.
Yeah, for sure. And if you think about what Mount Rushmore is, right? It's not the 4 best of anything per se.
Yeah.
It's not the top 4. It's not a Hall of Fame of 4. It's just there's a Washington, Lincoln, and 2 other dudes I can't remember. So Washington was the first president, right? So that's why he's up there. The 4 Horsemen were essentially the first real big popular. I'm saying that, and I'm also thinking about the Von Erichs. Were the Von Erichs before the Horsemen? Probably.
But I mean, yeah, you're right, and I know what you're saying. But like the Von Erichs are just brothers. I don't count that as a faction.
Well, I definitely still count them as a faction. I just don't know if they. Well, you could count them, I guess. For this, and because it was like the '80s, and it wasn't like weekly television. Although they were on, they did have weekly television. Actually, what am I talking about? So, yeah, but the Horsemen to me were bigger because Ric Flair was the world champion, and yes, Kerry was the world champion. But come on, we all know that story. So
yeah,
I also. This is going to be a boring segment. I am also picking as my first choice the 4 Horsemen because in my mind they were the sort of first faction where you thought of them more as a group than you did as individuals, and together they were more than just the sum of the parts, right?
Yes.
They were the 4 Horsemen, and nobody really kind of invaded our television screens in a group like they did before they did.
Yeah, I mean, think about all the war games and things they did back then when the war games first started, how important like the world title was with them. I mean, I haven't checked up, but like having all the belts, like having a whole faction with like tag team champions, a world champion, television champion, all that all at once, brings gravity, and it really makes everything like more important. And then it's just something about being in like the studio shows, like a World Championship Wrestling, where you can just go talk in front of a screen. Just seems awesome.
Yeah, and there's as far as rules again, just for this Mount Rushmore, it's really any version of these groups that you want. So the 4 Horsemen, obviously, we're thinking like Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Ole Anderson, Psycho Sid. No, just kidding. There were a lot of horsemen, weren't there? Psycho Sid was a horseman. Lex Luger.
Sting
was a 4 Horseman. Chris Benoit.
Ooh, yeah.
Was Dean Malenko actually?
He was. Dean Malenko was in the Horseman. Yep.
Wasn't sure if I fantasy booked that as a kid or not.
But I mean, also like even growing up, like watching Nitro and stuff. Like when I was watching Nitro, I didn't have a big, extensive history of WCW and NWA, so I didn't really know the Horseman. But even McMichael in the Horseman was like it felt big.
Yeah, Mongo McMichael, he was the man.
Yeah. So like. That's to me, it's gravitas. Even then, like when the NWO came out and mocked Arn and stuff in the Horseman, I knew that was a big deal, even if I didn't know like the entire history of the Horseman. So that's important to me.
Yeah, when Kevin Nash came out dressed as Arn Anderson, saying that he's like, "I'm gonna give you not a liver spot."
Yeah.
My spot. And then 6 is like Ric Flair, and he's got like the water shooting out of his hands like he's crying. Like,
yeah.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Doing a great impression of him too, if I remember, like talking like him. It was very good.
So yeah, so the 4 Horsemen, I mean, it's got to be some people are on the side of like the Von Erichs, right? Because for them, maybe that's what they watched in the 80s. Right. Maybe that's what they were able to pick up.
Good point.
On their antennas. Maybe they watched the Pat Robertson 700 Club, and that's how they got introduced to wrestling. Who knows?
Oh God, yeah.
So I actually just watched Iron Claw last night. Rewatched it.
Nice.
It's better than I think the first time it's like you want it to be exactly,
Yeah.
And then the second time it's like it's just a movie. It's fine.
Yeah.
But all right, Chris. So since you went first, I will now go first for my second pick on the Mount Rushmore of wrestling factions. None of us would be here today, folks, if it wasn't for the NWO, the biggest wrestling faction ever. Has to be, right?
I think so, yes.
And like I said, you can pick which version you want. This can be just the 3. This can be with DiBiase. This can be with Six, with Hennig, with Scott Norton, Buff Bagwell, Vincent, whichever version of the NWO you think of when you think of the NWO. That's fine with me. Put them all on there on Mount Rushmore because, dare I say, the NWO may be the most influential wrestling faction in the history of pro wrestling.
I think you're right. I think just on the baseline, one of the things that I know made the NWO so important was at school, people were actually had NWO shirts and they were talking about it, and it was cool to like watch wrestling in the NWO, and it was cool to do the too sweet like hand thing. And when that happens, you know they're important. Because I could go around as much as I want with I'm blue in the face and talk about how much I love the triple threat in ECW, but I would get mocked. But not the NWO. So
yeah, WCW was something that I watched, but I didn't talk about it with anybody at school until the NWO showed up.
Perfect.
That's when the other kids at school were talking about, did you watch Nitro last night? I'm like, I mean, I watched Saturday Night. What are you talking about? I don't watch Nitro.
I watched Bobby Walker on Saturday night. Yeah.
I just watch those doors open and whoever comes out out of the smoke at what is that taping? Where do they tape those? City something in Atlanta?
Was one CNN Center or something?
It was like city something.
Yeah.
Center Stage. Is that or is that just the strip club that I lost all my money at?
It's both.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, center Stage was definitely
So the NWO, right? Hogan going to WCW for one, big, right? Then Hall and Nash, they're going to WCW, and it's like they're obviously pretending to be Nash, or Hall is obviously pretending to still be Razor Ramon, but. And then, obviously, you get Bash at the Beach, right? They have a third man. Don't know who the third man's going to be. Hulk Hogan comes out, drops the leg on Macho Man. People start chucking their drinks at him. Which, going back, I feel like the WCW fan base did a lot more drink throwing and popcorn throwing, you know?
They definitely did, yeah.
You know?
Do you think that was... It definitely wasn't planted, but it's a little too much. So it could have been. They, like, throw your stuff at them.
It's just the good old boys.
That's true.
The good old boys in the crowd. Just, like, I'm done with this Pepsi. Fuck you, Hogan!
Do you think, speaking of NWO, though, do you think, sorry to go on a tangent, do you think they're the reason why it's cool to, like heels? Before that, it was unheard of, right? And then they come around, you're kind of, these guys are cool. I kind of like them. And now it's okay to kind of be like, I like the heel more.
Well, we were talking about the Horsemen, and they were heels.
Good point. True. Yeah.
But I think you're right. And there's also more of that with the NWO. They brought so much to the table that wasn't there before. Not just, liking the heels. Really, if you think about it, 96, where were we in WWF? Where were we in WCW? It was like the new generation, you know? Mm-hmm. So there was no cool bad guys. I mean, there was like Sid, but that's it.
Yeah.
You know, there was no cool bad guys. It was all the cheesy baby faces. Surfer Sting and, you know, WWF, like Tatanka and Bret Hart, and obviously Hogan went to WCW, but there was not any like edgy characters really at all before the NWO. It really flipped wrestling on its head because everybody was coming out in a goofy costume, being a dumpster or something.
Yeah,
you know, and then like I am a dumpster, like. So there was no, like, these are just cool dudes or whatever the case may be, you know?
Yeah.
So it really opened the door to all of wrestling to just be a cool character. You don't have to be the great and powerful Oz or the Yeti or whatever. You can just be, like, a badass guy, you know?
Yeah. And then, like, you mentioned Sting, too. Sting's, like, transformation into the Crow Sting, and then Sting, who we'd known for 30 years after that, well, it was because of the NWO, too.
Right, exactly.
I know, like, Starrcade 97 sucked and it was poorly booked and everything, but still, without the NWO, that Sting doesn't come about, and then we don't have a Sting.
Exactly. And then, obviously, we wouldn't have the red and black Sting. The best Sting of all time, the NWO, the Wolfpack. Which, the Wolfpack, I kind of consider it a separate faction. Mm-hmm. It was the Wolfpack, but still.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely not on the Mount Rushmore, but I did love the Wolfpack. No. Come on, you didn't love the Wolfpack?
No, I mean, they're not on the Mount Rushmore. That would be just... Lex Luger would be smiling too hard.
When I look back and think like Lex Luger they're trying to make Lex Luger like a cool guy in his like jeans and his red and black, but I was like, yeah, Lex.
Black jeans, tank top.
But yeah, very important. Yeah, I mean, I would just dispute that you said you would take any NWO on this Mount Rushmore. I would say the one with Jeff Jarrett in it, I'm not going to accept.
or okay, so like the Hollywood Hogan who was in the Wolfpack, like
Yeah,
like we don't have to. I guess rather than say you can accept any version, maybe we should like exclude one version. Like I exclude the Four Horsemen that included Sid and Luger.
It's fine. That's good. But yeah, absolutely.
So, all right, Kris, we've talked about, the WCW, NWA, Jim Crockett side of things here. The Four Horsemen, the NWO. Who do you got next for the Mount Rushmore of wrestling factions?
This is really going to show my like age bias here, but I think it has to be D-Generation X. Too important on the WWE side. Also kind of that like, whereas the NWO kind of made it cool to like bad guys, kind of like the anti-heroes, right? DX was like crossing the line and kind of led into the Attitude Era, which saved the WWF and everything. And I liked DX more than NWO back then. I was always a WWE guy, and I loved Shawn Michaels and Triple H, and even the second iteration without Shawn Michaels was good, and it kind of vaulted Triple H to superstardom, and it made two random guys, Rockabilly and the Roadie, it made them into superstars and people we actually like, and is just in China, of course, you can't one of the most influential women's wrestlers ever. So just a lot of accomplishments and a pay-per-view named after them in Springfield, Massachusetts, which is cool.
All right. So, I mean, I still to this day play the D-Generation X theme song and just do the suck it crotch chop.
That too. The song.
Constantly,
yep.
all the time. There's videos of me doing it. Like, it'll be like 10 years ago, you did this in a parking lot for 10 minutes. Somebody filmed it, and I'll be like, time to do it again.
That's right. And how about the staying power too? Like Joel Embiid on the 76ers, he hits you with a suck it sometimes. It's been over for 25 years.
I mean, I was young enough where I was in like 4th grade, and my mom wouldn't buy me the DX t-shirt that just had the D-Generation X in silver, and on the back it said 2 words, suck it, and then suck. Yeah. The U was an asterisk, so it said 2 words, suck it. My mom would not buy me that shirt because it was not allowed in school. So I had to find the DX shirt that didn't say suck it on the back.
Yeah.
And then my friends would wear the shirt, and then they would just wear like a shirt over it, and they would show it to me at recess and piss me off.
That's cool. See, I got my DX shirt I got at Hampton Beach, New Hampshire. So it said 2 words suck it on the back, but it was printed, and it was printed bad, so it was squeezed down. So it was really small and like thin and long, but I got it.
So you had a bootleg DX shirt from Hampton Beach?
I surely did, yep.
Well, I had a bootleg Brood shirt that I got at Hampton Beach.
This is amazing. Great. I love it.
The Brood, not on this list, folks. Honorable mention, though, The Brood. Very cool.
Absolutely.
Launching point for all those guys. But yeah, back to DX. So yeah, when I actually hear the DX theme song, I think of, this is what I did that day, okay? That day being December 9th, 1997. I watched Superstars on USA Network, 10 to 11 a.m. I know I'm leaving my house in Springfield, Mass. to go to the pay-per-view that night with my aunt and my cousins. And it was on pay-per-view, right? So we had the pay-per-view channel. So I just put on that pay-per-view channel that would show you like a 5-minute preview video. And I was just bouncing around my house all flipping day. I mean, it was a fun show, even though it is obviously notoriously the worst wrestling pay-per-view like of all time, because it was a month after the Montreal Screwjob. So there was like nobody in the main event to go against Michaels. So the main event was like Shawn Michaels versus Ken Shamrock. You had Sergeant Slaughter in a boot camp match against Triple H, which nobody knew what a boot camp match was. And then the end of the show, which people really don't grasp, go to a wrestling show and have this be the end. Okay, you're in an arena, like let's say you're on the floor. There's no Titantron. There's no screen at all, period. There's no screen. There's no commentary because you're live in the building. They don't play commentary over the speakers. So the main event is Ken Shamrock versus Shawn Michaels. Gets interrupted by Owen Hart, who attacks Shawn Michaels and then disappears into the crowd. People in the building who didn't have a vantage point to see that had no idea what happened, and the show just ended. So people were filing out of there being like, what even happened? I didn't see what happened. Nobody, it just like, it would be like if like a fight broke out across the arena and you just knew that something happened over there, but you didn't know what.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Come on. Terrible.
Amazing. Yeah.
But DX, I mean, they had their own pay-per-view, right? And yeah, so I think that the reason why I put the NWO ahead of DX is just because the NWO came first and DX kind of had to adapt to that. But once they caught their stride, they were off and running, and obviously they won the Monday Night War, right?
Yep.
So because they like the NWO like fell off and got ruined, DX really didn't until 10 years later, and it's a nostalgia act with Hornswoggle and whatever. But
Yeah.
the original DX, the three of them, yeah, they were miscreants and they were troublemakers and all that stuff, but that is why people were watching WWF for a while, along with Stone Cold Steve Austin. But for sure, without the group D-Generation X, that first group with China, there wouldn't have been the second version of DX, the 5-man version, which included X-Pac and the New Age Outlaws, which I thought was the best version.
I agree with you there. I do think that's the best version, but you're right. Without the first version of them, that doesn't happen. So yes.
So, and I do think overall, when you look at Shawn Michaels, one of the greatest of all time, Triple H, now running the show at WWE, China, pioneer of women's wrestling, broke barriers, entered the Royal Rumble, Intercontinental Champion, all of it. They are maybe the single best faction of all time, D-Generation X.
Nice.
I'm
with you.
So we got 3 out of the 4 here. So it's time to go into some. We're gonna break off here and go into maybe some of the worst factions of all time. Kris, just worst faction you could think of off the top of your head. Go.
Oh, the oddities.
The oddities, yes. The human the parade of human oddities.
Wow, I didn't know if I was gonna say that. Yeah, yeah.
How about the Spirit Squad?
Sure. Spirit Squad at least had some good wrestlers in it, but yes, that was goofy. Didn't like it.
Name all 4 members of the Union. Go.
Big Show, Mankind, Ken Shamrock. Oh no. Why do I want to say Test? It's not Test.
I believe it was the Big Boss Man.
Yes. Was it? Yeah, I think you're right.
Or it might have been Test. No, because they got fired from the corporation. That's why they were the Union.
Yes, the Big Boss Man. Yeah, that's good.
All right. You said the oddities. How about the Truth Commission?
Yeah, I know.
They're pretty bad.
They're pretty terrible.
Maybe single worst wrestling faction of all time, the Right to Censor, simply because of their music.
Yeah.
I would want, in like 2001, whenever they were around, I would want to shut the TV off when the Right to Censor came out.
They would say they're doing their job, pal.
A lot of heat.
Got you.
I had a lot of heat for them. So we're still naming silly, stupid factions. Oh, okay. So I said the Right to Censor was the worst faction of all time. I take that back. The Nexus is the worst faction of all time.
Man, I would just want to, before we go back, I do want to say that Test was the member of the Union, not Big Boss Man.
Okay.
But also, Nexus, huh?
You're
talking about the original Nexus?
Any version of the Nexus.
You didn't think they were cool when Wade Barrett was leading and before John Cena buried them?
No.
Okay. That's fair.
Second worst. No. So they were worse than the BWO. The Nexus was worse than the BWO.
BWO was supposed to be bad, though, right?
Right. The Nexus wasn't.
Correct.
How about... This is a t-shirt that I wanted. 1, 2, 3, pin me, pay me. The Job Squad.
1, 2, 3, 4, life. Yeah. Uh-huh. That's a fun one.
Pin me, pay me.
Talking about putting it behind the curtain. Jeez.
I know, right? Put that on Unreal.
Oh man, it's so like the ones I hate so much, I kind of like bury in my down deep in my soul, so I can't even think of them now. But
Right, because there's more here that are like not. They're just literally just so boring. Like MJF's group, The Pinnacle.
Yeah.
How about The Age of the Fall from Ring of Honor?
Oh yeah.
Exactly. It's just like you don't even want me to say. Like oh, here we go. You ready for this?
Oh, I know one that's awful too. I'll say. Yeah, tell me.
How about the NWO reunion in TNA? The Band.
Horrible.
Main Event Mafia. Speaking of TNA.
Yes. Speaking of TNA too, I gotta tell you, Aces and Eights, hate them. Maybe the worst.
I don't think it was overall. It's like a show where the show just ends and it's like the show Lost. It's like it was 8 seasons. It didn't end well. I don't need to go back and revisit it ever.
Yes.
Like, I don't need to go back and be like, oh, maybe I'll get some nostalgia. Don't need it at all. Sorry, Taz.
when Garrett Bischoff is a member of your faction, it's pretty bad.
Was Taz the leader?
I think Bubba was the leader. Come on.
Devon was like a surprise.
Yeah, he's
member. They would do like the masks and then they would like reveal. And yeah, it was like Garrett Bischoff one time.
Yeah.
Whoa, big reveal there. Thanks, Dixie.
There was some other terrible person in that I can't remember, but yeah, it was just. Ugh.
I'm trying to keep out like trios, essentially. You know, I'm trying to just think of like actual larger groups. So that probably does it for like hilariously terrible groups. I mean, we didn't talk about Kai and Tai.
Yeah, but I know, but they were such well-respected wrestlers in Japan when they were Kai and Tai, so I'll let them slide.
Yeah. They're better than the Nexus, Kai and Tai. So let's just talk about like some cool ones that are nowhere near Mount Rushmore level, but just some cool factions.
I got some.
All right. So I got Evolution. Spoiler, they're not going to be on my list on the Mount Rushmore, but Evolution was, in hindsight especially, Evolution was cool.
Yeah, they're on my, yep.
I mean, obviously Triple H is walking and talking as a Ric Flair clone, right? But Ric Flair is still out there, and he's still puffed up on the sauce. Mm-hmm. And you got Big Dave and Randy Orton, two of the greatest of all time, as the younger two there, and then two of the greatest of all time. Not really Triple H, but Triple H cosplays as one of the greatest of all time.
So I'll tell you, like back when Evolution was around, I was at my peak of Triple H hatred. The Reign of Terror was here with me, and I hated it. I was also so sick of old guys. So even though Ric Flair was not that old, and he could still wrestle and he's still very good, I didn't want to see Ric Flair. So I was just like, I hated Evolution so much. But like looking back now, it was pretty awesome. I don't want to say, I think Batista probably would have been something anyway, but it kind of made Batista. And Randy Orton became more serious instead of being like that, like just I'm a third generation wrestler, that trope. So, or second generation, and very important, very fun, cool music.
The coolest music, the coolest fucking music.
As much as Triple H had the Harley Race like beard and was trying to be, like you said, cosplaying, very important, very
white
good
button-up shirt with 0 buttons on it.
Hate it, but yes, very good.
Shirt flowing, like just down. Remember when Mark Jindrak was in a couple of vignettes there, and they didn't use him?
Yeah, could you imagine if it was him instead of Orton? Oh my god.
So I think it was supposed to be a vehicle for Batista. It ended up being a vehicle for Randy Orton as like a future world champion. Yeah. But obviously they both went on.
Yeah, important storylines like the thumbs down, all that stuff, all great stuff.
The thumbs down, because they did it twice. First they did it with Orton, then they did it with Batista. So it became its own thing. And the thumbs down on Randy Orton, to me, because it was so like foreshadowed and it was even, telegraphed, but it was just one of those things where once it happens, it was just, like another group, The Shield, when Rollins hit him with the chair and the Shield. It was just another like the group is ending kind of a thing, and it was just great.
Is the Shield on this list, or are they on your Rushmore?
They are not on my Mount Rushmore. Mm-hmm. So I agree. Shield, we can put the Shield in the honorable mention group here, for sure. At the time, if you asked me, they may be on the Mount. They may have been, but
yeah.
And then obviously, as individuals, they all went on to great heights and still are. They're like the top of the wrestling business. I don't know why, to be honest. I'm not putting them on there. Maybe it's just because there's only 3 of them.
Yeah, I hear you. This is interesting because I have so many on here. This was my hardest one to put, the 4th one.
Don't tell me yours because I know it's not the flock. So I'm gonna talk about the flock.
No, I won't say it, but I just think it's fun. I like hearing who you don't have either.
So the flock was cool.
I liked the flock because I liked Raven and ECW. To see him in WCW and see that thing coming around, like the kind of same gimmick, I was very excited for.
I guess he was really a dick to Stevie Richards though, like in real life.
Yeah, that's sad. I mean, Raven doesn't seem like.
I guess Stevie said that Raven told him that his job was to come in there and make $90,000 a year and be Raven's job guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad work, Stevie. You know?
Yeah. So the flock was cool. Who was your favorite person in the flock?
Kidman.
Yeah, he's probably besides Raven, he's probably the best.
I actually like Saturn too. I thought Perry Saturn was really cool. Maybe that was because I like DCW, but I thought he was fun in the ring and like a kind of cool, like weird guy.
He always just confused me, and not even like later on stuff. Like he just confused me.
Yeah.
Like, is his name Saturn? Why is his name Saturn? Is his name Perry Saturn? Is that a real name?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Kidman too as my favorite member of the flock.
Mm-hmm.
Mount Rushmore of flock members. No, I'm just kidding. One we cannot leave out here. Obviously, they're not on the Mount Rushmore. But if we had more heads on, have you ever seen Mount Rushmore? The heads are like this big when you're looking at it from the ground. Like I've never been there, but I've seen pictures. They could have carved the heads a lot bigger here. What were these guys doing in the 1800s or whatever? Get some more chisels. Oh yeah, but one group that we have to discuss when we're talking about some of the best factions is the Wyatt family. Mm-hmm. One of the best modern day factions.
I remember seeing that first vignette when they were on Raw and they went through the compound. I'm like, this is cool. This is going to be great.
Yeah, they were one of the few groups that carried over from NXT to the main roster and just carried momentum over.
Yeah.
So obviously we cannot. I mean, we literally already talked about this faction when we talked about Vince McMahon. Why was he speeding down the road? Because the Undertaker kidnapped his daughter Stephanie.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And that was during the time when the Undertaker was leading the Ministry of Darkness, folks, which was very cool.
It definitely was. That's on my list too. Not the Rushmore, but on the list. Yeah.
Right. I mean, you had the Undertaker, you had Paul Bearer. So where did Midian get involved in this group? Was he just like, he was already Dennis Knight, right? And was he just like waywardly backstage? I know Viscera got kidnapped at the Royal Rumble. Big Mabel, whatever his name was. He just gets straight up kidnapped. And obviously the first 2 people in the ministry were the Undertaker's acolytes, Bradshaw and Farouk.
Very important. Yeah. Yep.
So you had the acolytes, you had Midian, Viscera, and then the Brood joins the Ministry of Darkness. That's like just putting steroids on it. Like the Brood comes down at WrestleMania 15, they hang the Big Boss Man. I know, yep. I wondered about that stunt for years. I couldn't just fathom in my head, it was a harness.
Me too, yeah.
Like, how did they hang him by his neck? With a harness. All right, we got a couple more here, some random ones that are pretty good. Do we actually? Let me think here. Oh, I mean, we can go back to like, the Heenan family, mm-hmm. the Dangerous Alliance.
Dangerous Alliance on my list. I love them. Not very important, but a little short, but very important. One of my favorites of all time, but not. I can say they're not on the Rushmore.
I know you mentioned the Triple Threat from ECW.
This is where man, I have. Let's see. One that wasn't really fun, not that good, but like I just enjoyed in the new era was the $1 Million Corporation with like Ted DiBiase and like Nikolai Volkov, like you mentioned earlier, and King Kong Bundy and stuff. Kind of dumb, but I liked it. Tatanka.
Yes, yeah. When Tatanka was in the $1 Million Corporation, that's when I like that.
Yeah.
So we got one more pick, but I'm gonna just switch it up. I got 2 more picks, Chris, and you can't have 2, but I can have 2 because this is my Mount Rushmore.
You're right.
So why don't you give me your final pick, and I'll give you my final pick and then my extra pick. So what's your final pick for Mount Rushmore of factions?
This one is, I don't know. I have to do it. It's the Hart Foundation in '97.
Okay.
They're so good. Bret, I will say that I don't think Bret Hart has ever been better. Everyone else was good. Like Owen and Davey too, as a tag team, was awesome. I mean, even Neidhart was good, and they were just so good at doing that. And it was just, I love them.
Yes.
Yes, you're right. And then you have the Austin stuff involved too, so that's kind of going at the same time. You also have the Shawn Michaels stuff going on. It was just so good.
The Canadian Stampede show, that match was probably like the craziest wrestling match in the 90s. This Canadian Stampede, the Hart Foundation against like Legion of Doom.
Yep. Oh, yep.
Insane. It was like Anarchy in the Arena in '97.
Mm-hmm.
Because think about it, I believe they were in Calgary, right? So and they're going up against the Legion of Doom, right? Notorious no sellers.
Yeah.
But it's the Hart Foundation in Canada. They're not selling shit.
That's right.
And it was just,
hell yeah.
It was insanity. It was just a great match. But yes, so since you're talking about the Hart Foundation, yeah, when they just kind of formed, right? Like they just it just kind of happened. So like Owen and Davey were feuding, and then they like got back together, and Bret and Owen had already had their sort of brother WrestleMania 10 thing, so that was kind of in the past.
Yeah.
And then it's like Neidhart is with Owen, and it's all sort of spilled out of that Bret and Owen, because that's how the Hart family ended up, they're in the front row, Helen Hart with the towel throwing in, and then like, that's how the Hart family kind of came to the scene, and then that's kind of how Neidhart came back.
Yeah, exactly.
He was like in the front row, and then he's just back, And
I remember when Bret came out, I believe it was during the European title match, the first one when it was in Germany, Davey and Owen, and they were feuding, and the match was awesome. And then Bret came out and was like, "Why are we feuding? We're family." And they kind of started that, and I'm like, "This is awesome." And then Bret's so good. God, it was so, and Bret, because you could tell Bret was actually pissed off, and he loved being in not America. It was so great.
Yeah. I mean, if you ever had somebody that encapsulated just the tiniest amount of negative fan sentiment and turned it into something, it was Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Like, got turned on by the fans, took it and ran with it. And I remember just at a random house show when I was a kid, I was like obsessed with Bret Hart, and I was young enough where it was like baby faces and heels, like whatever. I just like Bret Hart. And it was right when he was turning heel. And I don't remember who he's wrestling, but I remember Pat Patterson, it was a house show. Pat Patterson is the ref. It's Bret. I mean, go back and look at the cards in Springfield, Mass. I don't know. And Bret is like doing heel work against the wrestler, and my mom's like, and then Pat Patterson's like admonishing him, and my mom's like, "You think he's gonna, rough up the referee?" And I'm like, "What? No, of course not." You? Of course, Bret's like stomping out Pat Patterson by the end of the match.
Yeah.
I'm like, I guess so, Mom. Shit. But no, I was like oblivious. I'm like, no, he would never do that. But yeah, so and then all of a sudden you add Brian Pillman to the mix.
I can't believe I forgot him. Yes,
and it just goes Pillman like too. Over the top as one of the best factions. Yeah, nobody in this group was ever cooler than when they were in the Hart Foundation.
Yeah.
And at that time, I watched wrestling to watch the Hart Foundation.
Yes.
Because think about it, they were done. Essentially, the Hart Foundation ended with the Montreal Screwjob. They were just done. There was no slow fading away and coming back and then fading away. Gone. Right? Bret gets screwed. He quits, goes to WCW. Owen's gone for a month, comes back. Obviously, we know what happened with him. He would go on to join the Nation of Domination and then pass away. And then Bulldog and Neidhart just go back to WCW for a little bit, and then Bulldog dies, and then Neidhart just kind of fades away, and that's it. And obviously Pillman died first. Pillman dies, Bret leaves a month later. That's it. They're done. This group was so short-lived, but it was so awesome. It
was so good. And then going back and watching it is so good too.
Yeah.
Oh, they're so good.
Pillman underrated as just one of the best. Like, very few people have that level of character work and are that high level of an actual athlete too.
Yeah, I wonder, I don't know if we were at the same house show, but I would remember at a house show too. It was just Bret and Pillman. And I just remember in Springfield, I remember Pillman just yelling at the crowd. And I thought it was I'm like, this guy is crazy. And I loved it. Actually, it was amazing.
Yes, I think I remember seeing Brian Pillman ringside at a house show. Yes.
Yeah, that was probably there at the same time. I was like, this is amazing. Pillman is scary. I believe everything.
He was crazy.
It's awesome. It was great.
So I said DX is like the best faction of all time. In my opinion, the Hart Foundation is like my favorite. They're the coolest. Yeah. Like I said, short-lived. They were heels, but then in Canada, they're being received like heroes. It was great.
Yep.
And when you're 8, 9 years old, you don't care about America versus Canada.
Exactly.
So your fourth pick is the Hart Foundation. My fourth pick, because I get the extra pick, is really, so this is going to be my only pick of any modern day faction. We already talked about the Shield. We already talked about the Wyatt family. They're not on the Mount Rushmore, so to speak. But the one modern day faction I feel like that really changed the game that deserves to be on the Mount Rushmore is, of course, the Bloodline.
Yes, that was actually, if I took out my emotions, they were my fourth pick too, but I had to put the Hart Foundation.
Yeah, so I picked the Bloodline. Just nobody has influenced wrestling. They essentially brought the WWE up out of the pandemic Thunderdome era. Right?
Yeah.
It was the main storyline of WWE for a solid 4 years. The best storyline. So many ins and outs of Jimmy and Jay leaving. There were so many levels. I mean, what inning are we in now with the Bloodline?
That's right.
Right? We're only in the 4th inning, according to Paul Heyman, and then it's just, we never go to the 5th inning. And then the Bloodline, obviously, there was Solo comes in, and then Roman and Solo feud. Solo has his own Bloodline. Roman kind of just disappears. Then that Bloodline becomes just the MFTs. Start letting a bunch of Tongans in. Things get out of control. But, so the Bloodline is my pick for Mount Rushmore. You have to put them on there. Like I said, nobody took the ball and ran with it like they did in the past 25 years.
I mean, for Roman Reigns to hold the title for so long and for no one to really care because he was so good, because the whole thing was so good, for the Sami Zayn stuff that came out of it, for The Rock coming back, for the Cody stuff, even the Kevin Owens stuff during the pandemic was great. Like, it really is.
Yeah, and there was a while where the story of the Bloodline, it's like the only person Roman's feuding with is people in the Bloodline.
Yeah, and that's okay.
You know, he goes from, he has a little beef with Jimmy, and then he's got this big match with Jay. Jay becomes main event Jay Uso, and then we got Solo in the mix, and then Roman feuds with Solo, and it's like, you know, it was great. Like you mentioned, he probably, Roman wrestled Kevin Owens for the WWE Undisputed title at Royal Rumble like 5 years in a row for whatever reason.
Yeah. But it's okay.
Yeah. And then obviously Sami Zayn comes in. That was a big boost for just the whole story. And yeah, even now in hindsight that it's been kind of faded out for over a year, I would say the Bloodline truly ended right at the debut of Raw on Netflix. Roman versus Solo. Roman wins. That's kind of the end of it, He's the tribal chief, but he's also just not. There's no tribe anymore. But it's kind of everybody's kind of the tribe. So I would say that is sort of where you kind of, everything else after that is just noise. But yeah, the Bloodline for sure belongs on Mount Rushmore. And then my extra pick, because I'm designing this mountain, my extra pick is the Hart Foundation, number 5. I can't. If I only had 4, I would have probably taken somebody else off. But you don't have wrestling factions. I mean, how many? If you think about it, they influenced factions over the years.
Yeah, exactly.
So many groups wish that they were like the Owen and Bulldog of their faction.
Yeah, I like to just say that we did not say, hey, let's make the list and consult who we're going to do, and we have the same 5. That means I think it's true.
Not at all. Yeah, we didn't. I didn't tell him. I just said pick your 4.
Yeah.
So, and it was identical.
That's crazy. I will want to just have a shout out to the Nation of Domination, both iterations. I loved Savio and Crush and PG-13 and Farouk. I love them. I was at a house show too. I brought a sign. I made a sign and I stood up with a fist. I loved it. The Rock obviously coming into the Nation afterwards. That was a great run.
Clarence Mason.
Clarence Mason. Everything.
I had a Clarence Mason action figure.
Yeah, you had to. Why wouldn't you?
He was in one of the packs. So it was because back then they would make action figures of randos, and then if they didn't sell, they would be peg warmers, and then they'd be like $4. So my grandma would get them, and I'd have fucking Clarence Mason and Crush for some reason.
Why not? But yes, even though that original Nation led to the Disciples of Apocalypse and Los Boricuas, but hey, They're cool. Savio's fine. I do think they need to get shouted out because they were good. I enjoyed them. I really liked it when there was just a bunch, like when Farouk came out originally with just like 30 random people and they were all around, but
Yeah.
good faction there. I want
Like
to shout them
Farouk
out.
with like the leather,
Yeah.
like the leather jacket.
He could have been, and then I do think that Farouk should have. I don't know, saying he should have beat the Undertaker at that SummerSlam, but he should have been in more main events and should have had something. But
Oh, no doubt, for sure.
very important.
Farouk should have had a world title run
Agreed.
or something.
When Bill Watts is the one who gives Ron Simmons the world title run, that's saying something.
Yeah, it means you're undeniable.
That's right.
Cowboy Bill Watts is booking the African American athlete to win the world championship. And yeah,
Yes.
it's like, so fucking Cowboy Bill Watts books him to win the title, but not Vince McMahon.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know why? I think we learned something today. College football means more.
Well,
than
he
racism.
was a whatever.
Yeah, he won the Heisman, right? Yeah.
Or he was. I don't know if he won it, but I know he was like nominated for a Heisman.
I think he won. It's pretty incredible.
It's also pretty crazy that I think didn't him and The Rock both go to University of Miami?
Oh, I don't want to hit you with the sports stuff. He went to Florida State.
Florida.
And The
Okay,
Rock went
so,
to Miami.
Yeah, that's okay. So they were both football college athletes from Florida.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, yeah, I just always liked him. And then, of course, look at Farouk in the Nation of Domination and the Ministry of Darkness. Now I think he's a little underrated, a legend.
Yeah.
More respect on him.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, one of the most painful looking spine busters in the game.
Yeah.
He would just stand there and he wouldn't like Arn Anderson would do the spine buster and he'd like scoop you up and you both kind of go down.
Yeah.
Ron Simmons would just throw you on the ground and he would
Yes.
still be standing up at the end.
And even in the Dominator too, always when he did it, always looked devastating.
I'm sure it was every time.
Yeah.
So I forgot to mention the Nation. Yeah, I was going to put them in my sort of honorable mention, but I had like 30 fucking things.
I know.
Oh, and so the Nation, much respect. They definitely deserve to be talked about. D'Lo Brown, underrated European champion, Euro Continental champion. But one group that we're talking about modern groups, one group that you may be wondering why they're missing, the Bullet Club. Okay. Were they influential? Yes. I would go, like we were talking about earlier about Danhausen shirts. I would just go places and see Bullet Club shirts, not even wrestling related.
True.
You know? So they were certainly popular. I mean, they were in Hot Topic, for God's sakes, right? The Bullet Club shirts. Reason why I didn't put the Bullet Club on the Mount Rushmore is because everything they did came from somebody else. NWO, DX, they got more buzz than any other group probably. Got everybody to watch New Japan. Whether you say it was all of the Gaijin who came over, like AJ Styles and Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks and Hangman and all them, or whatever. The Bullet Club was another NWO-esque group where there was a lot of members, but they just, I don't want to say they copied everybody else, but they just took so much from the other groups that the Mount Rushmore sort of exists. So they started everything, so groups like the Bullet Club can kind of go. I don't think they're like innovative per se. They took everything else and put it together, but that's why I left them off.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
So that is the Mount Rushmore of wrestling factions. Folks, hit us up on social media. Let us know what Mount Rushmore you want us to do next. Do you want us to do Mount Rushmore of who has the best shining wizard?
Long list.
Let us know in the comments. I know, right? I got 2 people so far written down. But let us know, folks. We're looking for like solid, good Mount Rushmores. There's obviously just the Mount Rushmore of wrestling and Hogan and Cena and The Rock and Stone Cold. How about the Mount Rushmore of people who got knocked straight unconscious in the Brawl for All tournament?
That's a good one.
Mount Rushmore of just Butterbean. Just 4 Butterbeans. 5 Butterbeans. Did you see that Butterbean versus Suzuki match? He wrestled last year.
Oh, I think I did at your house.
Not good.
No.
Yeah. So what's his name? Is his name Eric Arndt? I think that's his name. Butterbean.
I think that is his name. Wow, yeah.
No Eric Arndts on the Mount Rushmore. But yeah, so let us know, folks. We're going to be doing more segments like this where we kind of stray off the beaten path to topics that we feel like are worthy of going back and talking about, like how cool the Hart Foundation is.
That's right.
So there you have it, folks. That about does it for this episode of Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman. Thank you for sticking with us. We appreciate you here as always. Be sure to follow us on social media. It's like at Watch Wrestling Pod or some shit on Threads or some other shit. Find us, follow us, like the podcast. And yeah, until next time, my friends.
I'm not the biggest fan of sports entertainment, but that was pretty entertaining.
Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman.
It's Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman, yo. Hit the mat hard, let the punches throw. Slams in the drama, your new favorite show. We drop the hot takes, keep the crowd in the flow. Clotheslines, power bombs, suplex the beat. Tune in weekly, we'll take the hot seat. From the ring to the street, the vibe stays elite. Watch Wrestling with Mike, nobody can compete. The face and the heel, we break down the deal. Wrestling fan Kris, the man in the myth. Voice of the people, that's a hypodermic needle.